Now that Hillary Clinton is on the warpath against Bernie Sanders, she has been using a particular line of attack against him and his supporters. In fact, what I want to do is I want to play that for you right now, and then we'll go after it.
I feel sorry sometimes for the young people who, believe this, do their own research, and I'm glad that we now can point to reliable, independent analysis to say, no, it's just not true.
Oh, God. Don't do that. That right there is a bad idea. In fact,
don't you ever do that. Don't you ever do that. I tell you, don't do it.
Not good. Not good. Bad idea for one. It's condescending. Number two, you're essentially saying the most plugged-in generation, the one who spends most of their time online, who have the most access to information, somehow don't know how to do their own research. As opposed to the people who sit watching mainstream corporate media on the TV. Right. And that's absurd. And look, I'm not the only one that's saying that. You have actually David Axelrod, who was the former senior advisor to President Obama and who served as his strategist on both White House campaigns. He actually tweeted this out. Line at Hillary Clinton should drop. I feel sorry for the young people who are fed this list of misinterpretations. It's patronizing. You goddamn right it's patronizing. This is not how you want to attract younger voters, especially the ones that you're going to need to win the nomination. You need young people, you need independents, you need moderates, and you also need Democrats. These people that you're insulting, they're not going to flock to your campaign. In fact, there are quite a few voters. I did a poll earlier that said a quarter of Sanders supporters will not support Hillary Clinton. And there might be more that won't vote for you if you continue to insult them. And a lot of them are independents that don't give a fuck about the party. Now, they don't care about the Democratic Party, but they do care about changing the system. And that's what's important. Now, Axelrod is actually going to go on CNN and say the same thing. I want to play that clip for you as well.
Sir, but I'll tell you one thing I would stay away from. I would stay away from the insinuation that these young people who are inspired by Bernie Sanders are dupes and that somehow they're being fed misinformation and that's why they're enthusiastic about Bernie Sanders.
Preach it, brother. Preach it. And look, on Morning Joe, Hillary Clinton also said, very condescendingly, I think it's exciting to be, in effect, protesting. I remember I did that long ago when I was in my 20s, and I totally get the attraction of it. No. Here's where she showcases how much she doesn't understand people that are voting for Senator Sanders. This is not a protest. This is not a message. It is a movement. People are tired of establishment politics and politicians because the establishment right now, the only reason we're against the establishment is because it benefits the wealthy and powerful at the expense of everyone else. And people are fucking tired of it. And unfortunately for her, Hillary Clinton is the face of the establishment. And it's not her that we dislike. Okay? Personally, on a personal level, this has nothing to do with Hillary Clinton. She just happens to be the current face of the Democratic and Republican establishment. It actually is the system itself. And in fact, Clinton says a lot of the young people actually like both of us. She acknowledged, however, that they really like me and then they really, really like him. Well, why? I mean, Hillary Clinton, I've heard, is a very, very warm person in small groups, very nice, very fun, good to talk to. I'm sure she's a wonderful person in person. However, her politics, that's what we don't like. And the fact that she's defending the same establishment that continues to grind us into dust. We do not like that. And here's the other thing, right? I think Clinton would make a fine president. Don't get me wrong, I think she would make a good president of the current system that we have. Just like President Obama, she would continue the steady as we go approach. Now, the only problem with that, to put this into a little bit of a, I can't even think of the word, but an example, is that we're a ship and we're heading into a fucking iceberg. Now, Hillary Clinton wants to keep us going slowly, same path. She didn't see it coming. The Republicans, like Donald Trump and Ted Cruz, they want to crank up the speed and ram us into the iceberg even faster. However, Bernie Sanders is the only one out of everyone that's running, everyone that's left, that's viable. I mean, Jill Stein's been saying the same thing, but she's not going anywhere, right? Even though we love Jill Stein, she ain't going nowhere. Bernie Sanders is the only one up there saying, hey, we need to change course. We're going to hit an iceberg. We've got to move. We've got to move now, or else we're going to hit the damn thing. What is that iceberg? That iceberg is a coming financial collapse. Now, why do I say that? That's crazy talk, right? No, it's because Wall Street has not changed since 2008. Well, you know what? Scratch that. It actually has changed. Wall Street banks, the banks have gotten bigger since 2008. They've swallowed up even more smaller banks. They've gotten even more powerful. And they continue to do their old dirty tricks. But Dodd-Frank, you say? Look, Dodd-Frank is incredibly weak and watered down. It doesn't cover half the stuff that it should. And it's been chipped away at by Republicans and corporatist Democrats ever since it's been enacted. And a funny note on that. Remember Chris Dodd of Dodd-Frank? Chris Dodd is a lobbyist for the Motion Picture Association of America, the MPAA. Now, the MPAA, by the way, loves the TPP. And what about Barney Frank? Barney Frank works for a bank. The revolving door is in play. No, Dodd-Frank is awesome. No, it's not. And the people, and it's funny because the people who worked on Dodd-Frank that it's named for have went through that revolving door and they're back in industry. One works for a fucking bank. You've got to be kidding. And look, the iceberg isn't just that financial collapse. It's also climate change. And look, Hillary Clinton, with all due, respect, she will probably take some modest action to try to mitigate climate change. She'll increase, subsidies to solar, and that's fantastic. She wants to do some things on getting more solar panels out there. 1 million solar panels by the end of her first term. Great. Good stuff. All fantastic, right? However, we cannot afford an incrementalist approach. What we need is bold action, radical action, to stop us from hitting that 2 degrees Celsius mark by 2100. And see, that's what a lot of people, young people, are really concerned about. They see this happening. They see this coming. And they're like, by the time we get your age, what kind of planet are we going to have? By the time we're able to have kids, and by the time that we're going to start having families and take over as the leaders of this world, what world is going to be left? That's a valid criticism. And see, Hillary Clinton, that incrementalist approach is not going to work. It's not good enough now. It was 20 years ago, but not now. Bold, radical change. That's what we need. Now, for young people, Clinton said this, quote, it is important to bring them into the process, and I give Bernie Sanders a lot of credit for doing that. Well, that's great, but there's a lot of people, those young people, that aren't excited by you that might not even vote for you. Yes, it's good to get more people into the process. That's what you want. But you also have to give them something to vote for. Now, she also said, however, voters must focus on electing an experienced commander-in-chief. Now, on that, experience doesn't always mean good judgment. And there's enough in Hillary Clinton's record to suggest that she does not have the right policy judgments to put us on the course that we need to be. We can no longer suffer incremental change because we no longer have time. We have to act now.